Which I get it. You're trying to cram a book into a 2-hour movie, or as Harry Potter, sometimes 3 hours, which is why I think Harry Potter movies were so good, because they were longer, because they included the details that were important.
And actually, like, circling back to Harry Potter, I was going to say, even though I read the books, like, years before I saw the movies, or the first couple movies, that was probably the one and only book where I was picturing almost exactly what it looked like in the movie.
That's always a good one to
because it's like I was kind of picturing like all these things, and J.K. Rowling does such a good job of the imagery in that book.
Welcome back to Dear Dilemma. On today's episode, we have a good one for you. The dilemma is, I don't know if you've noticed from our matching PJs that we have, but let's discuss the dilemma of what is better, the book versus the movie. Mm-hmm. And recently, I will jump into this, as we wear Harry Potter matching PJs that we did not know we had until I saw her. I don't even know how I know that you...
I had an Instagram story, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have those same pajamas. And I'm like, we have to wear them on an episode
And where
now.
did we get them, Hannah?
Costco. They also have a really, like, brand new pair that's navy blue and gold, and I really want those too.
I haven't seen those, but I did get a pair from there that were... I think it was it was a matching set, but they were a lot fluffy, the fluffy material.
Ooh.
I just threw the pants out because they were just too... I didn't really wear them, but this one I love. Hannah, do you want to show off the whole outfit?
Oh, we're doing this. I was cross-legged.
Never mind, Hannah, please sit. Look how cute these are.
Super cute Harry Potter jammies from Costco.
Yeah, they're so comfortable. I don't have on the bottoms because I forgot. Anyways, Costco, support us. Sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Okay.
Hashtag Costco.
Starting off with Harry Potter, and we don't have to name movies, but because we're wearing this, and because just recently I did finally read, and I know, don't come at me, people, the full series of Harry Potter. I've never read a single book.
That's impressive.
I realized what I did is I read a book, watched the movie, read a book, watched the movie, and I did it for about, I think it took me 2 months. I realized that I have only seen the first 3 movies. I thought I saw the only 2, but I have seen the first 3.
Really?
Yeah. And I will say, minus the first book, the book was better, but the first movie will always be, because that's all, like, growing up when they first started coming out, I only saw, obviously, only the movies, and going to Universal Studios in Florida, where it's nothing but, like,
that's where they have Diagon Alley, right?
I want to go back so bad. 2025 is my year to get back to Universal. The butterbeer, the whole experience. Diagon Alley, then you take a train, and guess where you're at? You're at Hogwarts.
Oh my gosh.
It's even better. And that whole experience was great. But I will say, minus the first movie beats the first book. Other than that, I think the books were really great.
I grew up, like, reading the books. I think I read the first one, like, in maybe 2nd grade. And so I read all the way up until, like, halfway through the 5th book, and I stopped reading. So I wouldn't watch a movie until I was, like, done with the book. But now at the age of...
You should, like, what I did, read the book, watch a movie.
I should have, but I finally just ended up watching the last couple movies because I was like, the books are too thick. I can't go back now.
Well, okay.
I'd have to reread the whole series, and so then I decided not to.
I read it on my Kindle because it was, Kindle Unlimited is free. Well, not really free, but anyways. And the thick ones that are like they thick. They are thick.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like it was like half the pages on my Kindle, and maybe it's because my font size. But I kept questioning. I'm like, am I reading the full book? And then I went back on my Goodreads, and it said like I read the full. I forget, it was like 600 pages or 400 something.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I was like, oh, so on your Kindle, it's actually almost,
just goes faster, maybe.
Maybe that, but it's not as many pages. I think it only said it was like maybe 300 or 200 some, but my font is a little bit smaller. So maybe it...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Compared to the book. But that is the dilemma. And maybe you're not a book person and you're more a movie person, or maybe you're more a book person. But I would say, as an avid reader myself, usually the book's always better.
Yeah.
I will say.
I agree. Because I
more
also...
details.
Yes.
But in my head, okay, here we're gonna get into this because it's new, it's recent. There's a lot going on with this book movie situation. The controversy between It Ends With Us and the movie It Ends With Us. Because when they first announced that was becoming a movie, people were like, "Oh my gosh, this book's really good. This will be great." And then they announced who they casted as the main characters, and it was an uproar. And I was one of those people that was against it. And I still haven't seen it, and I'm probably not going to watch it because in the book, we all had, and it's so funny if you go on to social media and you're like, who do you think should be the character for this? And then like people create videos. Everyone had the same who I thought in my head.
Who?
I don't know her name. She's got red hair. She's like, because in the book, they're like in their 20s. And she has red hair. Her name's like Abigail something. And everyone was like, oh, that's who this should be. And then I forget for the guy who I, in my mind, thought it would be. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. And then they casted the people who they casted, and they're all like in their 40s. And you're like, wait a second, this doesn't...
That I did. So I watched the movie, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is kind of like weird a little bit.
Because the author said...
Yeah.
No one's a doctor at 27 years old. False. People can be got because
late 20s, late 20s maybe.
There's
even
genius people out there. But anyways, that is my controversy on that.
Well, I did not read the book.
What did you think of the movie? I haven't watched it, and I refuse to watch it.
I didn't love it. And also tanked in the box office as well.
A lot of people said.
It was kind of weird, though, because looking back now with all the controversy going on, you could tell, like, Blake was looking at I forget his name, I'm sorry, like his real name, but the main character guy in the movie.
Baldoni.
That. She was looking at him, like, with hatred in her eyes. Like, you could kind of see it.
Could you feel
you could feel, some of the weird vibes a little bit.
In the movie?
In the movie, I thought. But also, it played into the story.
Okay, so...
Because she kind of, like, didn't...
True.
She was mad at him a lot. Like, she was kind of...
True.
So, I think it actually helped maybe the acting a little bit. In a weird way. But I don't know. I just didn't love the movie.
Is his name Justin?
I don't know.
Baldoni? Loved him in Jane the Virgin. With this whole particular situation, a lot of people said Blake should have played Verity. Is that what it is? Verity?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really also good
I haven't
book.
watched, or I haven't read that yet, but I want to read it.
Well, they're getting ready. I think that came through, but it's, again, different people. And then the Ends With Us should have been the younger cast, which then I think it would have taken off more.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched the movie because I refuse to. Because I know it's going to suck because of all the reviews. It sucks.
And compared to, like, what you envision. Sometimes you envision something so different, like the movie ruins it for you.
Yeah. Like, I've never read The Notebook, but I watched the movie in high school. I bawled. It was awful. And then there's another book that they have discussed about making a movie, 1,000 Boy Kisses. That book wrecked my life. I have teared up watching or reading books, like, a little bit. The way you would have thought someone in my family died. I bawled my eyes out every chapter.
I remember when Brooke finished this book, and she literally texted me and was like, if you want to be sad and cry for 800 days straight, read this book. And I said, no, thank you. And I never put it on my to-read list.
It is so good. And they're talking about turning it into a movie, and I can't prepare for that. And then I read the sequel. I only cried twice, I think, during the sequel. Because, I mean, it was sad on a few parts, but not the way that the first book was. So if that one turns into a movie and it busts, I'm going to be so upset. Because in my head, I know who at least the one character should be because he'd be really good at it. And he fits it really well. But then I hate when they do that. Like, you read the book, like you said, and you put who you think it's going to be or someone similar, and then they pick the total opposite, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Were you thinking? Mm-hmm. Like, you as an author who is involved in the movie should be reading the comments of your fans of who they think it should be, and you should
actually cast those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the movies that I was actually, like, sort of impressed with was Where the Crawdads Sing.
Oh, that was actually, I will say that was, for me, the book was good and the movie was good.
That's what I was going to say, because I feel like both were really good, and I feel like they did a good job of casting. And just the acting and everything. Like, I feel like they played into a lot of pieces of the book that was good.
I forget her name, but who played it. She's so good anyways. Like, I've seen some, she's really awesome. She's a great actress. But I agree. That's probably one of the, maybe The Notebook, maybe. I haven't read it again, guys, but would probably be the same. Like, I don't think there was a lot of
both
complaints.
were good. Yeah.
But I have talked to this about one of my reading friends, or to my reading friend, and I said, what would, like, we've talked about, oh, the movie sucks or whatever. We as readers, okay, listen up, all you Hollywood people, you producers, you authors. We as readers would rather sit and watch a 7-hour movie that has every detail that the book has, okay? Than to sum that crap up into 2 hours, because most of the time you're missing important parts that we really enjoyed. That is my dilemma.
I have to agree. I mean, I think that's the thing that a lot of...
Okay, maybe 7 hours is excessive. Okay, at least 4 or 5.
Yeah. I don't agree to that part. But I do agree to, like, the fact that they leave out certain details that I feel like are really, like, crucial to the storyline. And I think as readers, we're like, wait, where's that part? Like, we remember that part, and it's not there.
And you're like,
and
that's a good part.
It ruins the movie for us because we get mad.
Which I get it. You're trying to cram a book into a 2-hour movie, or as Harry Potter, sometimes 3 hours, which is why I think Harry Potter movies were so good, because they were longer, because they included the details that were important.
And actually, like, circling back to Harry Potter, I was going to say, even though I read the books, like, years before I saw the movies, or the first couple movies, that was probably the one and only book where I was picturing almost exactly what it looked like in the movie.
That's always a good one to
because it's like I was kind of picturing like all these things, and J.K. Rowling does such a good job of the imagery in that book that I think it carried over to what the movie played
and
into.
They casted very good people for it.
I remember the only thing that I envisioned a little bit differently.
My move.
What'd you say?
If I make my move, Ron, no.
You actually do a pretty good voice. You know when the staircases move?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say was like the only time that I felt like what I envisioned and what was in the movie, it was like totally different. But everything else I feel like was so like spot on. I was like, oh, this is like so cool. It's like my imagery coming to
and
life.
You know what's even better is if you go to Universal and you get on the rides of the Gringotts Bank ride.
They have that?
Yeah, and it's 40, so like you're on a kind of like a coaster, but it's not always just a coaster. It's kind of like sometimes you're in a 340 thing. You have classes. That ride was so fun because you literally start like you're in the bank. You know how they have like the little cart, whatever, and you drop down a hill, pitch black, and then you go in, and it's slower, and the screens are everywhere, and you have like water hitting you and wind, and at one point like you think that you're literally flying and you're off track, and they're the characters are, I mean, Universal does a phenomenal job.
I also want to go to Ollivander's and get my wand. And okay,
that
I'm
was
also
cool too because they pick someone when you can like wait, and then they take you back into a room, and then they pick someone, usually a child, should have been me, to pick their wand. And so like they'll give you a wand and they tell you to point somewhere, and like the shelf will knock off, or like wands will. It's so cool. Like you feel like you're there.
That's
it's so
amazing.
Cool. I will say this. I don't know if I've ever said this before. I tell people I this every time. When we went to Universal, you get on, and this is why I say to do park to park, is specifically for this reason right here. Because you go through the train. You go through the wall. So when people are going through the wall, the way that they make it look is like you think that they're going through the wall. It's somehow magical mirror that they do.
Yeah.
You get on the train, which takes you to the next park, the Hogwarts train, and they close your little caboose, and the window is a screen, and so it's like Harry Potter's flying by, all this stuff. I cried.
Stop.
Because
I can't wait to hear this.
Because it was me and my fiance, and then a family and their daughter, who were from England. When I tell you...
They had the accents.
They had the accents. She was going, Daddy, Mommy, it's Harry Potter. And I was like, oh my God.
It's real life. It's happening.
I think Zach came and was like, get it together. I was like, oh my gosh, because like the door has a screen, so that's going on. Like the cart lady with the candy.
Oh my gosh.
And then she's like, Daddy, Mommy, look, it's Harry Potter. It's this. And I'm like, oh, can we hang out with you for the rest of the day? That was probably hands down like the coolest experience. That was the most random experience. But it just added, and I was like a kid, and
it's like real life magic.
I didn't care about anywhere else in the park. I just wanted to be in Harry Potter.
That's awesome. I'm also kind of a geek, and so like I actually have the Harry Potter on PS5 and on Nintendo Switch, and I play it.
Zach did play the one game because I could hear him yelling, and I was like, "Why are you yelling at your game?" He's like, "I'm trying to catch the snitch."
Yeah, and flying is really hard. Like, I don't know why I struggle so hard on the flying part of that game, but it is cool because there's a bunch of side quests and stuff too, and it's just fun.
I will say, and this isn't a book, but Stranger Things I'm obsessed with. And I always want to go to Universal for Halloween because they have like a portion of it is Stranger Things, which is
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, but we've never been. And so if that did become a book, I feel like that show was just so good that I feel like the book would be good, especially if it was the producers and like who created it. But that's not one. But anyways, we would like to know if you prefer book versus movie.
Yeah. We want to hear from our movie buffs out there because...
Or what do you think? Like, which ones were good ones?
Yeah.
Do you agree with us?
Because obviously, like, Brooke and I are readers, so we do kind of prefer the books, I think, over the movies, as I think most avid readers probably do. Yeah. But if you're not a reader and you're just, like, a big movie buff, maybe drop us some of your favorite movies.
We're interested. I'm currently just started a book today that's 612 pages long.
You're insane.
Wish me luck.
That sounds horrible.
Wish me luck. And I also, here's quickly, I also, if I can't get the image in my head of the character, and I'm like, I'm just not seeing it, I will go to TikTok and put characters for this book, and people, again, create these, like, sometimes animated or, like, their fan fiction. And they have, like, either true actors that are out there now or people that they've created. And I'm like, wow, that helps. Because now I'm like, okay, now I can see... And it helps me connect in the book better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like you're not
I never really would have thought of doing that, but I think it's cool.
Like if I can't get what they look like down, it just I have to know. So I need help. Comment. Let us know what you think. Maybe if you ever want to write in your own dilemma about this, we are always down to talk about books.
Oh yeah,
always, or movies. And also it helps us if you have any suggestions on what to read or watch, please also comment that down because I'm always open for some TBRs.
Oh, yeah. We could probably do like a whole 5 episodes on books, to be honest.
I'm obsessed with reading. Yeah. I do nothing during the winter but that. But anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching today's episode. We hope you enjoyed. We'd love to hear your feedback on that. So make sure you comment or write in. And then also make sure to follow us on our platforms.
Dear Dilemma Official. Definitely find us there. And you can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify.
We're out there everywhere, people. We're out there everywhere.
We are. If you type in Dear Dilemma Official, you're going to find us.
You're going to find us. Yeah. Have a great week.